In 2021, the General Assembly passed a bill that was put into law over the veto of Governor Hogan, which would allow Maryland counties to set up progressive tax brackets. Up to this point, we had a flat tax by the counties as to what they could tax the residents. Now, this week, Delegate Julie Plakovich-Carr and Montgomery County Council member Will Giwando proposed a further change to the tax law, which would increase the maximum Maryland tax rate from 3.2% to 3.7%. Maricé, is it possible to tax for lower income people without raising taxes for higher income people? We just saw that Frederick County introduced a progressive tax, but didn't increase the higher tax rate.
First of all, I mean, our my former colleague, they can propose legislation that they would like. I think really what we need to be paying attention to is it going to be part of a leadership package? I would say humbly that it will not, especially with the recent reforms. The state legislature is known for kind of being, kind of moving in almost like a molasses kind of state, so when we just went through some reforms, I really would find it very hard to believe that bill really finds its way anywhere. Now, it's a good discussion to have, but I think we can be confident about a steady kind of tax base for now.
Well, I mean, but this is the problem, and this is the problem with perception, that when you have your representatives from the Montgomery County delegation and the Montgomery County Council calling for higher taxes, what is the perception when you have a competitive tax market for people to reside in? Mark, if Plakovich and the Giwando proposal is adopted, the combined state and local Maryland tax rate will increase to 9.45%, compared to Virginia, where their combined tax rate is 5.75%, Delaware, which is 6.6%, and neighboring West Virginia is 6.5%. Only DC would have a higher tax rate at 9.75%. Someone looking to reside in Montgomery County who may be a high earner may think twice about moving to Maryland. What do you think?
And absolutely, and I think it's worth noting that other jurisdictions are going the opposite direction. Legislation is moving in West Virginia to cut their income tax rate in half. So the 6.5 would go to 3.25. It hasn't gone through yet. We live in a very competitive federal system, and people, particularly with being able to work virtually, are in a position to move where they want to be. And we're seeing in high tax jurisdictions, New York and California, losing people, but particularly losing higher income people. And that's really significant in that the top 1% pay more in income tax. They pay about roughly 35-40% of the overall tax burden. They actually pay more than the bottom 90% in total. What this means is that collectively, all our jurisdictions that have income taxes are highly dependent on being able to keep those higher income people in the jurisdiction. And if you push them away, you end up having to figure out another way to levy your tax burden and pay for services. In the past, a lot of our leaders, when they kind of sat down and looked at the numbers, have been very careful about realizing that we are in this competitive situation. And I certainly hope you're right that we're not going to see that, particularly, I might say, when we have at the state level such a large surplus.
So, Mark, and Maricé, I thought, Mark, you were going to mention the millionaires tax that was
that's a good
imposed during the O'Malley administration, which was a total disaster. But right. I also want to bring out, and I don't want to blindside either one of you, because I just learned this morning. There's a bill that Julie Plakovich-Carr is also expected to introduce, which would increase tax on the top 1% earners, not only on their income tax, but on certain capital gains. There's also a proposal that would change the inheritance tax laws, reducing the amount that's exempt from $5 million to $1 million. So Maricé, I'll let you have the last word on this. You know, are we, as Mark is suggesting, is it possible that we're going to tax ourselves into a problem where we're going to have less revenue by changing taxes?
I don't have a problem with, getting people to pay their fair share. Let's be clear with that. So, exploring, what that would do economically, et cetera. We have, data analysts and the legislature that do that for us in bill drafting. I think making a comparison to the second poorest state in the nation, West Virginia, is not comparing apples to apples. And I would say, to add on to that is, the state of Maryland, we have a surplus. And the Moore administration has talked about the $69 million that he is focusing on in terms of the next year's budget. This surplus, some of it is also, because of the previous administration, but a lot of it's a result of federal funds from our Recovery Act. So, we're expected to be using these funds to get the Maryland economy back on its feet. So, when it comes to paying a fair share, I really don't have a problem with that. I don't know that we're anywhere near that right now, but having that conversation, I think educates us all.
Well, we're in the very beginning of the General Assembly. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see if your prediction that this leadership doesn't favor this or not. We'll find out. That's what we're here for every week. We're going to take another break. Stay tuned for parting shots.